I'm a high-performance mindset mentor. I've involved over many incantations, Ari, meaning that I've gone through helping people through, first of all, psychology, and then later how they can sell or promote or speak or communicate with their clients. And I moved to a point now where I just decided I don't want to go through, and not for more the time-wasting aspect of having to do incredible levels of digital marketing to get people who are half interested, forget 24 hours that they said that they booked an appointment with you. I more want to get to decision makers and also sort of people who are sort of maybe older, sort of more towards me, but more in control, or business owners, entrepreneurs and athletes. So basically I want to deal with the top end of the market, entrepreneurs, or I do deal with entrepreneurs, athletes and white collar professionals such as lawyers, accountants and the like. I specialize in mindfulness and wellness as a base, but ultimately I lead that person through to gaining clarity, removing blocks, and then ultimately setting, what they want to do, and create, if you will, a new certainty for them and a new level of business. So with myself, having come through financial services, I was born one to ask you, first meeting protocols, Ari, along services. Is there a difference, or how would you structure a meeting if you're A, selling your own services, or B, selling, say, something of services for someone else, like real estate or something else?
Well, let's talk about.
Would the meeting be the same?
Let's talk about your service. Let's talk about you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's say you have a first meeting with someone, and they agree to meet with you, on a lawyer or something, an athlete, and they heard about your service, and they show up on Zoom for a first meeting. How would you normally start that meeting now? What would you normally say now? How would you begin?
I'd normally ask them for a bit of background, and we'd sort of like go through sort of more like a chronological conversation, what sort of led them to this point. And really, there's no point talking to someone if they have no idea of what they're actually looking to do. So I'll try and sort of establish sort of what they're looking to do. But what I've come on the show is, you say, and a few other astute people, in terms of when you're selling or creating a relationship with connection and trust, do not pitch and do not probe, because it comes across as you're really only flagging your own self-interest. So I've read your book many times, Unlock the Game. It kind of keeps me on track. But I thought I'd ask you personally, how would you go about representing services like that? What would you sit down and talk about?
First, you have to have the mindset of a patient-doctor metaphor. So when they show up on the Zoom conversation, the first thing you want to ask is this, after you say, hello, nice to meet you. If it's okay with you, John, can we take a step back for a moment? You walk me through your background, your story, your journey, up to your current situation. We'll go from there. Would that be okay with you? Ask permission first. That bedside manner, like a doctor, with empathy. Then they start to open up to you, and they start to share with you what their challenges are. You don't intervene. You don't fact find. You don't ask questions. You have to let them come full circle. Once they unravel everything, you listen for the biggest challenge they give you. You listen. They'll tell you one thing in there that'll be the issue. Then you say, now you mentioned that your biggest concern was X, Y, Z. Here's the next question on the iceberg, as I call it. Can you tell me a little more about that? Like a doctor, tell me more about that. And that's it. You don't keep talking. Put the ball in their court. Then they'll open up to you and tell, well, I'm worried about this and this and this. Next question you ask is, how long has that been a problem for you? Next question you ask is, what's been the impact to your business and your life emotionally right now by having to deal with this every day? What's the impact of the problem? See, we're going down what I call the iceberg now. We're going below the surface of the problem, where you're unpacking, doing like an X-ray on the problem.
Well
and
said.
He or she is now understanding the full context of it and the seriousness of it. And no longer is this about you anymore. They don't care about your service. They don't care about what you have to offer. Your service is now irrelevant in this process. It's all about having them own the problem first.
Mm.
And the last question you ask is this a priority for you to address once and for all, to sleep better at night and move on? Is this a priority for you? And I'm okay if it's not. Always give them an exit door. Allow them a way out so they don't feel trapped, because they have to own the problem. Now, if he says to you, yes, this is an issue I want to resolve, then you're halfway there without discussing services at all. Now, the next step is not, real quick, the next step is not to say, well, here's my services. The next step is a meta step, that I call it, is to create a visual tool, what I call a roadmap, which is a visual way to show them what your process is to solve the problem. Not your price, not your services, not your background, just certainty and simplicity in a framework they can see, that gives them comfort to know that if they hire you, you'll follow a formula. It's your success formula. If you have those two pieces of the puzzle put together, then you eliminate you ever having to sell your service, because they'll say to you, how can you help me? Then you're good. So that's a quick snapshot of what I call the one-call sale model. We'll talk more about that, but actually give you a sense of where to go from there. How does that sound to you?
No, it sounds terrific. Just a quick one, because you've obviously got other people. What is your view on an elevator pitch? What would you initially say to your services? How would you stand out from the crowd, given you just mentioned the commoditization of everything now? All the emails look the same. All the, the people, all the text messages look the same. All the, the Facebook, scrolls look the same. What is your view on an elevator pitch these days?
Well, if you're forced to give someone a pitch in an elevator, for instance, it should never be about what you do and your solution. That's the number one rule. It should always be about the problem you help them solve. So if someone approached me, I'd say I help business owners who are in a low volume, high margin model, who are chasing opportunities and not converting them from multiple steps into one step. That's what I help people solve. That's all I'd say. I did this actually last week at a large virtual conference, and they asked me to introduce myself, and I said exactly what you just told me, and every hand went, that's me. I've got that problem. I want to talk to Ari. I want to talk to Ari. And we had so much business coming. We had enough for a while. So the clarity that you provide on the problem is the bees to the honey, not your services.
So would you say, I'll just last a little bit, would you say I help people who are concerned with they're not achieving peak performance, their business isn't going as well as they do? Would you get it more specific than even that?
I would say I help business owners specifically who feel like they're being held back from their potential, and obstacles they're fighting through, and they see at night they keep thinking about work. That's people who I help. That's me. That's everyone in the room. That's the whole point. Anyways, good to see you again, Theodore.
Likewise. Take care.